Thank you for coming back to Kingship Podcast. Thank you all so much. I have said it. I will continue to say it. I cannot. I am not able to do this without you guys, without your support. Because it does not matter who I am, how much I possess, how much I know, if no one is willing to work with me, listen to me, engage with me, then it doesn't matter. It absolutely matters not what I have to say, what I have to offer. It doesn't matter if I had the best product in the world. If no one buys from me, then it means absolutely nothing. So thank you guys so much again for coming back to Kingship Podcast. You guys are awesome, wonderful people. This channel is for guys, for boys, for men. But if you are a female, a woman watching this thing, you can still please share to with your nephews, cousins, husbands, brothers, fiance, boyfriend. It doesn't matter. If you are new to this channel, I am your host. Will always be here with you. My name is Jean-Louis Verdu, and I will be with you every single week, weekly, to share important advice, to discuss things with you. I will begin to bring guests with me on the show, so we can have discussions and stuff like that. So you don't just hear from me simply from me, but I'll have others with me. I just want to say thank you. If you have been here, thank you for coming back. And again, if you are new, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on anything, any videos that I drop out. All right, let's get into it today. Today, the subject, or what I'm going to discuss today, is DJW. DJW, not musical DJ. More so, it's an acronym. D for duty, J for job, and W for work. This topic is dear to my heart because so many guys out there, so many men, for some reason, just don't know the difference between those two. What is his duty or duties, his job, or the difference between his job and his work? I have heard guys that said, well, it's not my job to take care of this child or whatever. Listen, there's a difference between jobs, duties, and work. And today that's what we're going to discuss with you guys. And we're going to make this one a bit very, very quick, because it's not a topic that, we can take forever talking about. We don't need to take that long to discuss it. So let's get right into it, right? DJW, duty, job, work. What are the differences? Especially for a men. What do they mean? All right. If we go firstly based on actual definition, not cultural definition, there's a difference. Not cultural definition, but actual definition. Your duty is things that you are legally, by law, and morally obligated to do or expect to do. Legally and morally. So, if you happen to father a child or have accepted to provide to become the step in to the role of a father for a child, you have a legal obligation as well as a moral obligation to that child. If you decided to become a husband, which, by the way, you guys should please do me a favor, look up the definition of the word husband. You'd be shocked that within the definition itself, cultivating, fostering, providing, managing. Yeah, that's the definition of husband. Husband, you'd be surprised. Look it up if you haven't done so already. So, your duty as a man to your community, you have legal obligations to your community. You have legal obligation to your country. You have legal obligation to your household. Even if you're not around the age to take on a wife, but you still have legal obligation to your community, to your fellow men, to the female that you're trying to court. I don't like the word dating. Courtship is what we should absolutely do and bring back, because there's a big difference between courting someone and dating someone. You should check it out and look at the definitions. Because I think one mistake we make is that we fall and depend on cultural definition too much rather than actual definition. The words were invented, created for a reason, to give life, our lives, meaning. So when we then take the meaning and twist it and flip it into something completely different, something that's not even better, an alternative that's worse than before, it's idiocy. So anyways, though you may not be a father or wanting to be one, though you may not be a husband or wanting to be one, you still have legal obligations to your community, to your country. Some of it is quite simple as stopping at a stop sign. As simple as this may be. There's a reason for that. But anyways, we're not going to get too deep into this one. Understand that your duty as a man refer to your legal and moral obligation to your society. And if you happen to planning on wanting to be a husband and eventually a father, understand that legal and moral obligations involve taking care of, rearing, promoting, supporting, protecting, providing for your child and your wife. And so that's the definition of duty of a man. You understand? You have obligation, meaning you have no choice, kid. Men, boys, you have no choice in certain legal, not certain, all legal obligation, especially if it doesn't infringe on your liberty. Because we have to put that in there. Because not all laws really is good or fits everyone. Especially if we look back in years back, certain laws were not favorable to so-called black people. So, yes, you do have a legal obligation to your community, to your country, but we do need to say that unless that law is somewhat unethical and immoral, because the duty involves not just legal, but morally as well. That's your duty as a man. That's what it means to have duty as a man. And encompass all of that. A family, a community, your country. Especially for your family. All right. So then let's see the difference between job and work. Well, let me say this first of all. Every man must must have his work. Every man must have work. And I don't mean a job. A job is simply employment. A task you are paid to do. That's it. That's a job. You are hired to do a job, to do something, to complete a task. You do it. You receive payment, compensation for it, and that's it. That's where the definition of a job ends. That's about it. So unless you're getting paid to raise your child, then it's not your job. It isn't your job. Unless you're getting paid to legally and morally look after your fellow men, it isn't your job. It's your duty, just as we discussed. Your job is employment. You are paid to complete a task. That's about it. Your work, however, involved mental as well as physical activities. Oh, yes. You know, some jobs you don't really need to think. Seriously. You don't need to involve any mental capacity at all to do certain jobs. You just physically and get the job done and move on. Some of them, just the amount of thoughts or mental capacity that it takes, not much at all, if any, with most jobs. Not all jobs, but most. But work, however, involves both mental and physical activities. Why? What's the purpose of doing that? Well, it is to accomplish a desire, a purpose. Your work doesn't necessarily mean that you will get paid. As a man, your work could simply be means that you like to volunteer at the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Club. You simply like to coach football. You simply like to coach soccer or volleyball, basketball. It doesn't matter. You simply like to give your time to others. You like to develop others. You simply love to foster others. You simply love to give out to your community. That's your work. Some of us are blessed enough to turn our work into our job, or vice versa. What I'm doing right now, talking to you, I don't have to do this. I don't need to do this. What time is it? It's 12:02 right now, midnight. I should be in my bed. My children are sleeping. My wife is sleeping. As she was helping me with this, got tired and went to bed. I don't need to do this. This is not a need, but I love doing it. I love talking to you. I love helping my fellow men, making corrections in the area that I failed before. Do you understand what I'm saying? Once upon a time, I didn't understand the definition, the differences between duty, job, and work. I didn't. But once I understood, once that was made clear to me, first of all, by Dr. Miles Monroe, and then I went and researched it myself and looked it up. And then myself and a good friend of mine, Wizard King, which you guys should check out, also, we looked it up together, and we couldn't believe the differences, or the difference between jobs and work. It was unbelievable. Unbelievable. That your job is simply something you're paid to do. Your work, it encompasses all of who you are. You put yourself in your work. This, I put myself in it. I give my all to this for your sake. This is my work. Physically, mentally engaging, discussing things that your siblings or friends could benefit from, to help you become more reliable to your family, dependable to your community, to your country. That's my work. And man, let me tell you, it gives me great pleasure. I absolutely love doing this. Love it. Every man needs his work. When I am getting ready to prepare to sit down and talk to you guys, the excitement I feel that I have, no amount of money can pay for that. No money can add a value to this feeling. So, your duty to your family, to your community, to your country is different from the job or employment that you hold, which, if you consider yourself a man, you better have employment. Whether you have your own business or work for someone else, but you have got to have a means of bringing some income to yourself and to your family. You must have it. Otherwise, don't call yourself a man. I'm serious. Your job is employment, a paid task for you to do. Your work, whatever it may be, for me, is speaking on the mistakes that I've made, is speaking on the goodness that I've learned and still learning, and share them with you. Share them with you so you can become better men for your family and your society and your country. That's my work. I don't know what your work may be. Your work may be, like I said, coaching, speaking, training, art, whatever it may be. Every man needs his work to show himself, to grow into it. You need your work. Believe me, your work will bring you so much peace. And here's another thing your work will do for you that your job will most likely not do for you. As a man, your work will be directly linked to your legacy. I promise you that. Your work will directly link to your legacy. All of us will leave this earth. I will, you will. Once we're gone, will they speak your name at all? When I say they, I don't mean the world, the nation. No. Your family, your community. Will they even know you existed? And especially in this day where you can pull a camera, if you don't want to be behind a camera, but you can find others. You can find programs. You can find institutions. You can find communities that are looking for your time, that are looking for your mind. Please, if you consider yourself a man, not only must you have employment, but you must remind yourself of your duty to your community, to your family, to your country. But you also must understand that your work matters. As a matter of fact, listen, if you don't have a spouse yet, some of us, when we were younger, and if you are in your youth, like, I don't know, 18 and all the way to maybe your early 30s or whatever, and you're not in a relationship, you're not engaged or married, don't put so much emphasis on chasing females. Please don't do that. Find your work. Find your work first. I promise you, once you finally find that female, she will love you even more because you have your work. I'm telling you. You must find your work as a man and then devote yourself to it. Don't forget to have employment. You can start your business, that's fine. You can start your own business. Of course, I encourage that. I myself own a couple businesses. But you must have a source of income. And you must have your work. Thank you guys again for watching Kingship. I really appreciate it. Again, if you find values in the videos that we post here, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you can receive the videos and don't miss anything when we drop them. So you're able to watch, share with your friends, with your family, and let us become more productive, more reliable, dependable men that our families, our communities, our countries can depend on, man. Come on. Let's go. You're watching Kingship Podcast.